Hi, this is Mike from Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and on today's video we'll be taking a look at ThermalTake's ToughRAM RGB in British Racing Green. Keep watching to find out more. Okay, so in today's video we'll be taking a look at ThermalTake's new ToughRAM RGB in specific colours. So if you're looking at ThermalTake ToughRAM and you've seen it before, possibly in either the black or the white versions, which you can see we've reviewed already, it's up here, this may be of interest to you. So if you're building a colour themed build, quite often the RAM is the difficult one to actually work out what is going on and to get it to sync with the rest of your system. Obviously this incorporates a 10 LED RGB strip on each memory stick, so you can of course dial in the colours to your particular liking and make your build pop. But for some of you, you may want to go a little step further and introduce a little bit more colour. So ThermalTake, in their wisdom, are designing a whole new range of peripherals, including RAM and cases, believe it or not, which have got colour themed built into the build straight away. You do pay a very slight premium for it, but actually not as much as you'd think. So this particular one is a DDR4 3600 kit CL18, and this is using SK Hynix's C-die RAM. And for those of you that are into your RAM, you'll know that C-die is actually pretty decent, overclocks really well. You can, if you want to, reduce down those latencies a little bit. So if you want to, you can just stick it in. Most systems will recognise the XMP settings straight away and you're off to the races. Or alternatively, you can tweak around a little bit. You can either raise the frequency. I managed to raise these up to 4000 MHz, no problems at all. It's CL18. And conversely, I've also managed to drop it down to CL16 as well, using the same settings. So this is a really flexible type of RAM, as most of you will probably know if you've tried ToughRAM before in the past. But anyway, back to the colours, because this is the kind of the unique selling point of this particular RAM. So there's 4 specific colours available. We have got the British Racing Green. There is also a red, a gold, and also a turquoise, which again may not be to everyone's taste, but certainly I think a lot of those colours are making a comeback now. Certainly if you're doing a theme build, maybe if you're doing a, I don't know, maybe a Hulk build, then the British Racing Green is going to be great. Or maybe you are actually doing British Racing Green and you've got like a little model car inside your PC and you want to kind of set off all those green tones. Absolutely ideal. If on the other hand you're into your Marvel Cinematic Universe and maybe you want to do an Iron Man theme build, then obviously the gold and the red will be absolutely perfect for those kinds of setups. So anyway, let's take a look at the packaging. We'll take a look at the RAM itself, then we'll come back at the end with some of my final thoughts. So starting with the packaging, obviously ThermalTake branding on there. This is the DDR4 3600mhz kit. As it stands at the moment, these particular colours are only available in 36mhz kits. Potentially that may change as time goes on, so if you wanted maybe a 4000 kit or a 4400 kit, potentially that will be available in future. I will leave some affiliated links in the video description below, so depending when you're watching this, you may find there are additional RAM units available. Pricing wise, actually, let's get on to pricing before we take a look at the packaging in any great depth. The pricing of this actually did surprise me. Now you'd think, because of obviously the extra work involved in creating these additional stock keeping units of the gold, the green, the red and the turquoise, you'd think there'd be a massive increase in pricing. It actually seems like there's only maybe a £5 or £10 difference between the pricing of these specific kits, so you're not actually paying a massive premium for these lovely colours. Anyway, let's get out of the way. Pricing is in the description below. So on the front we've got a picture of the British Racing Green there with a little bit of RGB going along the top. And of course, being this is ToughRAM RGB, it supports obviously ThermalTake's own softwares, of which there's tons of them, including Neon Maker, which is a really clever tool, so you can really go to town on your RGB and make it do exactly what you want to. But if you're not into that, then no worries. You can get this to synchronize with most motherboards with addressable RGB support on MSI, ASUS, Gigabyte, etc, etc. So looking at the back of the box, as you can see, we've got the features there. I'll give you a close up of that so you can see that in more depth. But again, essentially it goes around telling you it's a 2-stick kit. So this is 2 8GB sticks making 16GB. Again, at the moment this is only 16GB kits. If you're looking for 32GB, that may be available in the future, but currently this, as it stands, is just 16GB kits. But of course, obviously, if you want to, you just buy 2 sets. So again, also it says there, also compatible with ASUS Aurora, Gigabyte RGB 2.0, and also MSI's Mystic Sync. And it gives you some information there about the CAS latencies. So the CAS latencies on this one, CL18, then it's 18, 19, 19, 39. So actually pretty decent timings there, especially for the last one. Memory bandwidth actually does seem to be one of the highlights of these particular sticks of RAM, which some of you may appreciate. Most of you, I think, probably if you're looking at this, you'll just concentrate on your themed build and you just want to stick your RAM in and
know that it's going to work pretty much straight away without having to fiddle around with XMP settings. And certainly, if you get the right combination of motherboard, obviously DDR 3600 is an overclock speed, as is pretty much all RAM on the market at the moment. So anything over 2666 really, in most cases, is a bonus. But certainly these have worked in pretty much every system I've tried them in. I've tried about 3 or 4, and they've just gone in, turned on XMP settings, and they found the settings absolutely fine. Again, we have used the BIOS, gone in and manually changed some settings, and actually it's pretty easy to configure. These are really flexible RAM chips. The SK Hynix C-die do seem to be very good and very flexible, and quite forgiving actually. I'm not an expert in memory timings, but even for me, it was a piece of cake. Anyway, so that's enough about talking about them. Let's take them out of the box and see what they're actually like. Now, I will warn you, first of all, these are a glossy finish to them, so they are going to be a fingerprint magnet, so you may want to put some gloves on or something to actually protect them from smudges and smears, and no doubt if you've seen some of the B-roll already, you've probably found some smears and highlights already. Anyway, there is the 2 RAM sticks, as you can see there. They do look quite nice, although sadly ThermalTake have sent me the green one, which is possibly the most difficult one to actually film, because it is a very dark British Racing Green. I'll put the actual colour code on the screen for you now. I did use my colour reader to see what it is. So again, if you wanted to buy these and then maybe buy a generic PC case and then just spray it up in a similar colour to make it all match, then you certainly can do. It is available in a RAL colour, which is pretty much a universal thing here in the United Kingdom and possibly around the world also. So looking at the RAM sticks, as you can see, you've got the British Racing Green there, which is a very high gloss finish on those segments, and also in the middle you've got those chrome accents, which actually have got almost like a nickel finish to them, depending which light or which angle you're on. They do tend to kind of change colour a little bit. It's not a bright chrome, it's more of a nickel style finish. Looking at the actual ToughRAM itself, as you've probably seen possibly before, you've got these really edgy kind of lines along the top there, which actually do represent the ThermalTake logo. So if you look at the TT logo, that is actually replicated there, so that is part of their design theory. So taking a slightly closer look here, and again I'll try and get you some B-roll this so you can see what they're like, but they are very, very glossy, very reflective. It's a really bold design and I actually really like it. I think in terms of actually memory design, I've seen quite a lot on the market, but these certainly are very, very different and very, very premium looking. The whole aspect of it, and also the RGB when it's lit up, you have got those 10 LEDs in here and they do diffuse really nicely. There was some complaints earlier on with some RAM sticks where you can basically see the LEDs in there, and again in certain lights and certain camera settings, possibly that is coming across on camera, but actually to look at, generally they do look very well diffused in there, and yeah, again, very, very premium. The colour itself, I think the British Racing Green is going to be one of those things which is a very, very niche market, but certainly the gold and the red, I can see that tying with tons of builds. If you're an MSI fan, or maybe you're just into the whole PC gamery thing, red is obviously one of the standout colours, as we see from marketing everywhere. But certainly the gold, the red, the turquoise I'm not entirely sure of, and the green, again, is going to be very niche, but certainly it's really nice to see ThermalTake just making a little bit of a jump and saying, right, we're bored of this, let's do something different. And again, they are bringing out a range of cases and peripherals, all which are going to be colour coded to, again, the gold, the red, the blue, and also the British Racing Green. So potentially you can put yourself together a really nice system with all nicely matching colours and make a fantastic build. So that is pretty much it. I'm not going to go boring you to death with specs. Essentially, as you probably know, DDR4 3600 using the SK Hynix C-die RAM is really decent stuff and is actually used across the board on a lot of manufacturers. But what you do get with this, obviously, there is a 10-layer PCB. They use 2 ounces of copper in there as well. So it's just really, really well built and yeah, tough as old houses. ToughRAM certainly lives up to its name. It's actually quite heavy as well. The RAM sticks themselves, somewhere around about the 80 grams mark, of which kind of 60 grams or more of that is actually the heatsink and heat spreader itself. So kind of like 75% of the weight of this is the actual cooling, etc. And of course, cooling, it does exceptionally well. That is going to be mostly down to the individual case and setup, etc. and the gaps. If you've got 4 of these together, clearly it's going to be slightly warmer than 2 of them separated. But I think ThermalTake have actually made a really good stab at this. It's difficult to actually put into words what I'm actually feeling about this. I'm really excited the fact that they're doing these new colours and these new glossy things. It does open up a whole world of possibilities and also a whole world of custom theme builds. So anyway, let me know what you think about this one in the comments section below. Do you think paying a slight premium is worth it for this nice glossy finish and those custom colours? And obviously there may be other colours to follow. Or are you somewhat of a purist and you just prefer the plain black or white. Do let us know in the comments section below. But in the meantime, I've been Mike, this is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and hopefully we'll catch you in the very next video. Thanks for watching.